Welcome to the 2025 Refresh Renew Summit with Soul Heart Collaboration. I'm your hostess, Jamie Allen Bishop, and I'm here to introduce our next speaker, Melanie Browning. Hey. Melanie is a mother of two, actor, speaker, and success principles and mindset coach. She helps ambitious women use visualization, decisive action, and identity work to rebuild the character of you. After 20 years stuck in fear of life and her own dreams, Melanie applied her tools to move from the shadows into the spotlight. She created the ACT method: awareness, character, development, take action, and hosts the podcast Badass in Action. A founder of Spotlight Mindset Training Group, she turns mindset into momentum. Please help me welcome Melanie Browning.
Hi, Melanie. Several years ago, I was at the beginning stages of going through my divorce, just consumed with the worries of what is life going to look like moving forward, and very much connected to the anger, the hurt, the bitterness, and the blame that was just a constant swirl in my mind. At the same time, I reconnected to my desire of getting back into acting. Midlife crisis much? With a new sense of, oh, yes, I can. I signed up for a 2-day acting workshop with a visiting New York instructor. In that class, it was my turn. I was prepared, more than a little bit nervous, but ready. I was on stage, I performed my monologue, I finished, and, well, I made it through. There was the standard obligatory applause from the other attendees. And then right there, at that moment, again, a visiting instructor who knew nothing about me put me on the spot. Right there in front of everybody, he asked me if I was divorced. My mind swirled. I felt the heat from my stomach begin to boil as my face flushed and instantly radiated heat. What the heck does this have to do with anything? Why are you bringing my personal life into this? The revolt in my mind absolutely continued as I struggled to hold back any of those words. He was silent, but began to approach me on the stage from the back of the audience. Feeling the eyes from everyone in the crowd, I knew I couldn't just try and brush this off. But I felt so attacked and my defenses were up. The instructor stepped onto the stage, held up my hand, showing off my empty ring finger, and it was like a dagger to my gut. But he had no intention of hurting me. He didn't know how fresh this was, but he did know there was some pain there. I simply responded, no, not yet, but I will be soon. He then very gently, like putting pieces of my shattered self slowly back together, told me that when he read the monologue, he saw a very different scene than I did. The same words on the page, two completely different perspectives. I did the monologue in a very sarcastic, bitter tone. He saw one that was playful, sexy, full of love, and intense fun. What? How in the world? It took me a moment. He said, take a minute, step outside of where you are, Melanie, how you're experiencing the word currently. Think of a time of being deeply in love. Now look in the back of the room. There is a man who deeply wants you. He loves you and he is ready, standing naked. Do your monologue with that in mind. So I blushed, took a moment and digested his direction. And then I had the most fun, sexy, captivating performance of my life. When I was done, the audience erupted in whoops and hollers and applause, and I felt fantastic. Not from the applause, but just really with connecting to love and excitement. The shift in how I was looking at the scene ended up changing the molecules in the room, and the energy was palpable. The instructor told me, "Do you see the difference in the room?" Anyways, try to lead with love looking at any script. It may also help you in life. And with a side wink and a shift of his weight, he was off, welcoming the next actor to the stage. And although I don't think I've ever experienced a moment like that, one that was so intense, so painful, and feeling publicly humiliated, which again was not his intent. It's just simply where I was and how I was showing up in life. But I was so, and still am, so grateful for it. Because otherwise, that lesson wouldn't have stayed with me as it has. Lead with love. I'm going to hold on to that one. Where in your life can you change your perspective on something? And will it bring you a whole new outcome for you and those around you? Are you holding on to pain? Bitterness is bleeding over into many areas of your life without you even really noticing it. That's really what was happening there. I had no idea that because of where I was coming from, that affected how I was interpreting a script, words on a page that were intended in such a different way. Now, flashing forward to just a couple months ago, I was helping out on an action film set. This was a high-paced, high-stakes scene, complete with a haze-filled room, an interrogation room, and it involved a handcuff escape and an all-out brawl, covering the wide range of weapons, including a baseball bat, a knife, a gun, and those handcuffs I mentioned, and of course, the raw physical power of the two massively built, seasoned action actors. It was pure excitement. I even got to see my first breakaway desk in use, where the bad guy picks up the good guy and slams him through the interrogation desk, sending bits flying everywhere. Pure joy. But unlike the short, finished, action-packed scene, filming it is very long and drawn out, and a lot of hurry up and waiting going on. And during those moments of preparation for the next shot, I was hanging out near the camera operators. One of them told the other one, seeing what kind of scenario they were trying to create, he said, "Give me such and such lens. Insert appropriate lens sizing here," because I don't remember the actual number he used. But what it was, it's not just where the camera is positioned, but the type of lens that is placed in front of the camera, onto the camera, really helps determine what's going to be in the shot. Is it going to be the full room we see? Is it going to be a close-up, the victim who's getting beaten up? And also, it gives a different mood of how you want the audience to see what's going on. So looking at it of what do we want to take away? What do we want to do? They look at everything, and then they select their lens to put on the camera. So I'm obviously not, a camera person, but what was going on here just really grabbed my attention. The premise jumped out to me, and tying it back to the lesson that I had learned in acting workshop, I softly said to myself, just like the lenses in life, every person views life through their own lens, built from their own experiences and how they internalize them. Just like the monologue example, you can put two people in the same room, run them through a scenario, and questioning them afterward, you have the potential to get very different interpretations of what happened, depending on what lens each person lives by. Hello there. I'm Melanie Browning, an actor of over 14 years. And yes, I absolutely love seeing life through the acting and filmmaking lens, but also with the lens of how the heck can we have the most joyful and successful life in the process? In addition to acting, I've also been a success coach and speaker for the last 6 years, and I'm very honored to have been invited here to share and play with you today. So I want to take a moment. I want to applaud you for showing up today, as you are someone who are already, you're looking to expand your mind and how you experience this life. Maybe it wasn't intentionally that way or how you describe it. And maybe you're here more because there's some sort of pain or a lack of something that's showing up in your life. But you want change. And so you're showing up here and trying a new approach. Whatever had you show up today, you answered it. Bravo. And because you showed up, you earned a gift, your very own metaphorical lens case. Your job is to fill it with lenses, new ways of seeing that let you choose your interpretations and your outcomes. When it's time to refresh and renew, reach in, pick the lens that aligns with what you want, and go. And to get you started on your collection, I'm offering 2 new lenses today. But first, let's go ahead and remove the old lens and take some time to wipe and polish the new one. All right, will you do that with me? So first of all, I want you to get up out of that chair if you're sitting. Oh yeah, I know. Take a moment. Let's move your body slowly and gently. It might have been sitting for a while. Oh. Let's breathe. Deep breath. Take long, deep breaths while you're stretching, waking up your body. And if your balance will let you do this, I invite you to close your eyes while you're doing this so you can really focus internally on your body and searching it, where that tension is. If you have a lot of it, just pick a couple of spots and focus where it's at. When you find a spot you want to really kind of help out, take a deep breath, guiding it to that spot, giving all that oxygen, life-living goodness, freshness to that area in your body. Focus it there, direct it there. And then when you breathe out, breathe the tension with it. You find 1 or 2 more spots. Go ahead and do that on your own. Breathing in the oxygen, letting go the tension. Feel that body. Oh. Brought some energy back into your body. If you want to do so, you can go ahead and have a seat again. Good job. All right, let's get back to your new lenses. The first lens that I want to offer you today is the play lens. This lens makes a scene or your life one that is full of joy, love, happiness, playfulness. If you're looking to shift your mood and increase your vibration, wipe the slate clear like we just did and I walked you through. And in your mind, grab your case, grab the lens marked play. This lens unlocks an area in your mind where you now get to create any imaginative world and combine it with the real world you are currently living. So I used to do this all of the time when I was working in a manufacturing company. And on the really long overnight shifts that we would do, they felt hard and all of the things, I would shift to this lens. And I would create this place in my mind where I was the CEO. No one else knew this, right? But in my mind, I was the CEO. And for some reason, I just kind of happened along and I got to help out this crew. It doesn't have to make sense. It's okay. So here I am, the CEO. I get to help out these employees. And as a CEO, I decided I wanted these employees to have a joyful team building experience And in that shift, I was suddenly able to bring up my energy in actually interacting with them. I was able to smile fully and encourage all of the amazing work that they were doing. The night would go by so much more quickly, our productivity would increase, and I'd go home feeling fantastic, exhausted, and fantastic. So think about your work right now, whether at your job or if you own your own business or if you are a stay-at-home parent. Find a part of the job that maybe isn't as fun as one of the others and explore with your play lens on. Now, create any scenario in your head that is fun for you. So you don't have to tell a soul what you're doing. So imagine in your mind and feel the joy in that moment and then live out what you're doing, getting the tasks that you have to get done. If you do have the added bonus of working with little kids, then they're the ones that you can kind of let in on and have some fun with them as well. For example, you can paint the picture for them. So tell them, see that laundry basket over there? That's a hoop. And now I'm going to win this basketball game by getting the most points of dirty clothes in the basket. Are you in? Let's go. Same in your office. You can imagine answering phone calls if you don't enjoy doing that. Imagine you're actually the boss, but your employee who normally does this job happened to have to step out. So you're just going to answer this call. And, soon enough, they'll be back and you'll be back in your office putting on the green, right? Whatever you can do to play in your mind that makes what you're doing more joyful. So not only is this a great way to shift how you're feeling, it also changes how everyone sees you through your energy. And it really does begin to create this magnetism, like the audience exploding in excitement from that day on the stage for me. All right, go ahead and remove the lens and carefully place it back in your protective case. Now, taking a deep breath. Woo-hoo. Releasing the tension in the air. Here we go. We're going to get a hold of the second lens. And this one is a specialty lens. Go ahead, make sure it's on there right. No, I really have no idea how a lens goes on, but in my mind, it's something like that. So this lens is called Catch Them Doing Good. I love this one for both at home with personal relationships, guiding children, or how I will share how I used it here with you today in the workplace. So I heard this idea a while back about how to guide positive behavior in children, but at the time, I was having a difficult time with an employee of mine who was really causing low morale and unnecessary holdups in the production line. The problem that he seemed to very vocally point out over and over again was that I happened to get the promotion that he felt he deserved. He definitely had been there longer than me and had some very valid reasons for feeling the way that he was and being upset. But the main reason he didn't get the promotion was his general outlook on life. He was a downer and constantly complaining. And wherever he could, he created problems. So this, of course, skyrocketed when I stepped into the shoes he wanted. And now that energy, that negativity from him was focused like a laser beam right on my back. This was a problem I was tasked with fixing and really had no idea what to do. So I tried talking to him, empathizing with him, which went nowhere. I tried the more firm option of pulling him in for a formal counseling, which, yeah, it just intensified everything. Until I discovered this lens and immediately put it on. So every day I went to work with the intention of catching everything good this guy was doing. Wow. The shift was immediate. I was no longer focused on the worry and the pain that I was having when dealing with this person. I was just truly tuned in to see how he was showing up. I was seeing how skilled he was, how the very quiet, subtle moments he had and did interact with his crew, and how in tune with the manufacturing equipment he was. Once I started seeing this, I naturally started commenting what I was seeing and how impressed I was with him to this employee. He could feel how genuine I was being. And over time, I think he could no longer really justify to himself how mad he was being at me. Nope, we didn't become besties, that's for sure. But we were quickly able to start to grow something from there and get into a cohesive working partnership. And we were able to really begin to run a great manufacturing line. And I don't know what I would have done if I didn't swap out my lens, which in turn helped wipe clean the lens he was looking at me with. So try this one today. Maybe have a teen that's frustrating you, a spouse that just doesn't seem to listen. Or have you been beating yourself up lately? Catch yourself doing good. It's a game changer. Now, as you put on the specialty lens back in the case, as you put the specialty lens back in the case, this magical, beautiful case before you, see that there are plenty of empty slots for you to put new lenses, the ones that you choose to put in there. Intentionally think about what you want, how you want to show up, and how you want to see the world, and fill your case with those lenses. Now, while it's fresh in your mind, I want you to take a moment and write down where you've been showing up. Have you been showing up with a better lens in your acting class when you're not really in divorce court? List it, see it in front of you, and take a moment to write down what old lens that comes to your mind and how maybe it hasn't been giving you the outcomes that you want. So go ahead and do that now. And once you've given that name to that lens, let's go ahead and look at what kind of outcome do you want to start having? What feelings do you want to feel in these types of scenes? So write it down. What are you going to name that lens? Again, write down the lens of how you've been viewing life, where it hasn't been showing up for you. Just reflect upon that. It's always good to kind of call ourselves out and to be honest with ourselves, because a lot of times that information's there. We're just choosing not to look at it and therefore not doing anything about it. And looking at how you do want to start showing up. What lens do you want to start putting on, swapping out that old lens for? Take note of that now while you're here in the moment. Great job. All right. The power is within you. Leave behind the bitter, dull responses in life and show up through love and play, energizing the molecules in the room and owning that stage of your life. Thank you again for being here. I'm sending you a huge thank you for showing up, and a big one for Jamie Allen Bishop as well for hosting this. And make sure you save the date of next year's event, where we will see you in person in Scottsdale, Arizona, October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 2026. If in the meantime you would like to get a hold of me, you can reach me at Melanie Browning 717 at gmail.com. That is MELANIE BROWNING 717 at gmail.com. And please remember, wherever you're feeling stale, stuck, stagnant in life, or just not getting the outcomes that you want, remember, refresh and renew with one new tool that you took away from someone in this event. Have a beautiful day.